Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at another InArt Black Myth Wukong figure in the smaller scale. This is the YAKSHA King, and I haven't played the game yet, so I'm not super familiar with this character, but I believe he's one of those good protagonist guys who helps the main character along and is just generally helpful and benevolent and nice and pleasant to be around. That's my guess, based on the character design. But this figure is riddled with detail, has some really cool accessories. I have some trepidation about the articulation, but we'll see if I'm right or wrong about that. But yeah, they provided this as an early review sample, but I will be fully honest, as I always am, and they are happy to have the feedback. And I guess we'll get into it. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I will show you the package. They have the same styling as the previous packaging. However, can't really tell what's going on as much here. Like, you can kind of get it if you know that, like, there's the arm, there's the head, the hair, the sword. Maybe not as visually appealing, but their thing is not the packaging. Their thing would be the figures inside the packaging, and that's an important aspect. Alright, so I will have a link in the description below to take you to the InArt website. I don't have any other links or anything like that for this guy. But here he is. He stands to the top of his head, about 8 3/4, including the horn thing. He's a little bit better than 8. That's going to make him about, we'll say 19.7, and then, I don't know, 20.5, give or take. Of course, you can pose him a little bit differently. Here he is up against our main guy there. Yeah, these figures just have so much detail in them. They look so good. This figure is not a design I'm particularly fond of. That has nothing to do with the figure itself, though. Of course, that's the character design. And honestly speaking, he's probably a bad guy. I was making a joke in the beginning if you didn't catch that. So it suits him. He seems like a bad guy. The color scheme, the details, not exactly screaming nice and friendly. But yeah, there's a lot of detail going on in this guy. It's mostly all one color. There is obviously a lot of shading going on, but it's still a pretty darn cool looking figure. The cloth goods look really nice. I mean, they're sculpted. They're not actually cloth. But yeah, a lot of really nice detail, as is what we expect from InArt at this point. The hair has the nice gray with the white on top. Looks nice. Yeah, it's a very appealing figure if you go for this sort of design. There you go. Not a happy face there, but that's what he looks like, and it's really well done. So aesthetically, there's not a lot to say because it's all just a bunch of like wrinkly sculpt with red and black on it for the most part. A little bit of orange and different colors here and there, but yeah, there's not a lot to say. It looks good. It looks quite reasonably accurate, and it gets way cooler looking when you get to the accessories. So let's do that. Aesthetically, I'll give him a 9. It looks really good. 9.5 maybe. I don't know. There's a few issues like the hair seam, things like that, just kind of take away a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it looks really, really good. You could say 9.5 if you wanted. Okay, as far as the accessories go, this is where we really get into the fun stuff here. We have the usual spread of hands. There's a bunch of hands there. Those look nice. We have some hands with some swords coming out, Baraka style. That's pretty cool. You might like those. We have some swords for him to hold. Okay, those are glowy swords, which look really nice. I love these accessories. They're so well done, from the yellow to the orange to the opaque red. Very cool. Love that. So those are his holding swords. But then we have things for his elbows. So you can pop off his little elbow pad thingies, whatever you want to call those. You can put some red blades on there, and those are pretty darn cool. If you like that, you win. But if you want to go even cooler, we have glowy ones, the transparent extended ones. Those look awesome as well. And then if you really need to go a little bit further, you can lift up his hair and tuck these blades in that snap onto his back, and he's got more blades coming out of his back. I don't know how effective that is. I guess porcupine-style defense. But yeah, that's pretty cool. The effect just looks amazing. They did a great job with the color. But then this is the thing that I love the absolute most out of everything. It's the sword built into the slash effect, which has a little tab on there to be put on its own stand. But that is just so cool. It's like looking through glass. It's so clear. It's so transparent. And then with the yellow and orange shading on there, it looks phenomenal. It's a big effect too. You can see That looks so nice. And then you do get the display stand for that, and you get a big old display stand for the figure as well. So that's a really good spread of accessories. I'm going to go probably 10 out of 10. I don't know what else you would need. So many different pieces there, and the transparent plastic, and I mean transparent, not really translucent. It's about as clear as you can get while having color. Looks fantastic. I love that. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for accessories. Great. Now, articulation. Wukong posed pretty well. The pig was pretty good at posing, I guess, and Stone Monkey, pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. Now, this guy, on the other hand, I guess I should look up some gameplay and see if he moves around a whole lot. I'm guessing he's fairly agile, because bosses in these kinds of games are. He doesn't move that well. The figure does not pose that well. Part of it's because of the character design. I don't know if they could have done much better, but I'll go through it and you'll see what you think for yourself. So, the hair, none of it's articulated as far as I can tell. It's soft and flexible, but it doesn't actually... Maybe there's a hinge on... You know what? I'm going to pull his head off and hope it doesn't break. It didn't break. Okay, so yeah, it's not articulated. It is just flexible and stuck on that ball peg. So it'll move around, but it is not articulated. The head is on a double ball peg. We'll get to that in a second. The neck also moves around. But again, character design... They're going for an aesthetic thing here, so that's fine. Like, that's totally their choice. If they want to have less articulation and better looks, that's fine. Like this plate right here, this collar piece, that could have been built into the neck, and then you'd have a much uglier seam. Instead, they have it on top of the neck. You have no seam other than down here, but the neck does get less range as a result. So you have to decide if you care about that or not. I mean, plenty of people prefer the aesthetic with just enough articulation. I tend to lean in that direction. For me, aesthetics are more important than articulation, but they need to pose well enough. So let's see if he can do that. He does have a sort of butterfly joint similar to the that red Flash, Batman Flash. What's it called? I can't think of its name right now. Death Stranding. No, that's definitely not it. This piece moves around, not a ton, and then the arm moves around there. This is on top of the shoulder, so you can raise his arms up. So yeah, I think that's going to be fine. I think... Despite its limitations, you'll probably be able to pose it enough that it'll be worth it, because the aesthetic makes up for the limited articulation. That's my guess. You do get your bicep swivel here. It's actually a ball peg, so you get a little bit of extra range out of that, so that's fine. Double jointed elbow. Is that top joint going to go? Top joint doesn't want to move there. Is this one going to move? Does the top joint not move? There's a hinge there, so the single joint is better than 45, so that's nice. That's just the bottom joint. That's good. Why is this top joint not moving? What's going on here? Does it only goes back? That can't be. Why would it only go back? Is it assembled incorrectly? No. What is happening here? Can we force it to go a little farther forward? No. You can see the joint. I'm not sure what's happening there. It does move backwards. It doesn't feel stuck. It just doesn't want to go forward. That's strange. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess, because you're getting better than 45. Like, that's a pretty tight bend anyway. It is weird, though, that joint... Yeah, it goes backwards. Maybe that's a thing specific from the game that I just don't know about. That top joint does not go forward, it goes backwards. Very odd. And then the wrists are on what are essentially ball hinges, but they're actually regular hinges that just swivel at the end. So it doesn't look like a ball, but it is functionally. So you'll get plenty of range out of that. It's a little tight to move it, but it does work. So yeah, it's a little ugly when you rotate it sideways. It's really designed this way. I don't particularly like sculpted hinges, just for the fact that when you rotate them around, they lose their sculpt. So it looks good there, but you saw how it was gappy the other way. But yeah, you get the range there, so that's fine. Now for the torso, I would expect him to be a little bit more posable, but he seems to be pretty limited. And this piece, this floating piece, is kind of the problem, but let's see if we can work around it. Leaning him back, that's as far as he goes, so it's not very far. He does not lean back very far. Going forward, he leans forward all right. This piece does block the articulation, so there's that. Leaning to the side, it's not bad. It'll do, and then you do get your rotation, so that's okay. This is a giant floating piece, but there is a lot of material here, so I am fairly concerned that he won't have much range. Using that lower torso ball peg, it does help with the range some, but yeah, not a ton. He's still pretty... I guess that helps for the side. He's going to the side. So yeah, if you get in here underneath all of his wraps, you can grab his crotch and rotate his lower torso and articulate that a little bit more, so that's okay. But he's still pretty limited by this piece. So let's see what the hips can do, because we also have these, like, they almost look like a pelvis, but they're part of the hip. These pieces that stick up. Let's see if they get in the way too much. Bring the leg out to the side. It rotates almost like a Revoltech to get him out to the side. Yeah, you probably aren't going to do that pose very often, but they do go out to the side, but at a weird angle. And then you can rotate them back. Yeah, I think you'll be able to make that work. It doesn't have a ton of range. It's pretty limited, but I don't think he probably needs to do the splits, is my guess. Let's see about going forward. Not a ton of range going forward. Maybe this guy's relatively static when you fight him, other than the spinning attacks and stabby stuff. Generally, sword-wielding guys aren't super static, but who knows. It's good enough for the hips. It's not going to be a ton of range, but it's there. Your thigh swivel does work like a thigh swivel. It actually rotates at the top and down here, so you have plenty of swivel to swivel. And then as far as the knees go, bottom joint works well, top joint, oh wow, you get the full bend. It's a decent looking knee, and it does have that different coloration there, but I assume that's intentional. Not all of these guys are super easy to tell what they look like up close when you're watching other people's gameplay videos. And I can't just afford to buy and play every video game that a character or a figure comes out for. Ankles, quite limited. Feels like it's just a ball peg. I'm scared to pull on it to find out. But it feels like it's just a ball peg with very, very little range. That's kind of annoying. The toe hinge, very well placed, very well sculpted, and not super stiff though, but not too loose. So that's nice, but that's exactly how you sculpt and do a toe hinge. So that's good. So yeah, his articulation does leave a little bit to be desired. That's not what they're going for. That's simply the way this line is. You're going to have enough articulation to pose him, but not enough to put him in like Spider-Man poses, but I don't think you need that, especially given the aesthetic. It looks like what it's supposed to look like, and it comes with super cool accessories, so that's the trade-off they're making. I'll give his articulation 6 out of 10. He poses enough, but not very well. That's just the way it is. That's fair. It's limited. If you're okay with that, that's your call. If you're not okay with that, that's also your call. I'm not here to tell you what to like. I'm just here to tell you what the figures can do. It can look good, and it has cool accessories, but it doesn't pose as well. But now, it's time for the final rating. The accessories alone make me just love this. You'll be able to put it in some cool poses, I'm sure. I'm going to go overall... If you're waiting, I'll do 2 ratings, okay? If you're waiting towards the aesthetics and the accessories, which is what they're aiming for clearly, 9.5 out of 10. It's awesome. If you are considering that it doesn't pose very well, you can knock it down to an 8, but it's still posing enough that it's still a really good figure. And they don't charge a whole lot for these guys, so I still think it's an amazing deal. It's probably their least articulated figure, not counting the pig. What's his name? Zhu, something like that? Baji, I think? I don't remember. He's probably the least articulated out of the bunch, but he still poses and looks freaking good doing it. So, yeah, I like it. I like it. You have to decide what's more important to you, though. I don't know how many people. Let's do a question of the day. Where do you find your balance for action figures? Do you like posability, or do you like the aesthetic, or do you need it right in the middle, or which way do you lean? For me, it needs to be able to pose at least as much as it needs to be source accurate, but otherwise it's the aesthetics. I need my figures to look good, as long as they can pose enough. So for me, this one's fine, but let me know what you guys think. Alright, I'm done there. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.